I was very angry in my environment growing up in the Cape Flats because I had to dislike my environment so much so that it would make me want to leave.
Welcome to the very first episode of Emerge. Emerging is really about becoming, and today's conversation is deeply personal for me. So I am sitting with a woman who has inspired me long before I ever stepped into media or any kind of public space. Lorcia Cooper Khumalo is, without question, one of South Africa's greatest cultural treasures. She is not only a dancer, choreographer, and extraordinary actress, she is a standard of excellence. And for decades, Lorcia has embodied discipline and authority in spaces where few women, and even fewer colored women, were afforded longevity, respect, and creative control. And for many of us watching from the outside, she doesn't just perform, she is making space and showing us what is possible. Lorcia, it is such an honor to welcome you to Emerge.
Whew, I had goosebumps now. That was an incredibly generous intro. Yeah, I'm learning how to say thank you for such acknowledgement, and not shy away and go,
Yeah.
although everything in me is going, what? That's a big thing.
Absolutely.
I'm humbled. Thank you. Sure.
Absolutely. And that's really that's just a little bit of, how I can express in words who you are and how I see you. And I know a lot of other people across South Africa and globally do as well. But I just think for myself, growing up as a young colored girl in Cape Town, watching you, take over the space and show up in such a powerful, strong way, it really did give me, permission to dream. It gave me permission to step out and to take risks and to believe that maybe it is possible for me to also explore my gifts and my abilities. And you were just absolutely incredible from the very first day you stepped onto our screens, and you continue to do that now. So
thank you.
Yes.
You say that, and witnessing your journey has been so inspiring to me too.
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you.
So the fact that you say that part of your inspiration may have come from how I placed myself. The reasons why I admired you and admire you still is because you chose the hard road. You chose the one that wasn't easy. At no point, even when you started in Pop Stars, you weren't about, I'm going to play myself off in a certain way and then maintain this image so that people would like me. I always saw you fighting for your truth, who you truly were, not who the industry needed you to be, not this I'm going to be trendy right now and then you're going to love me. And then when I hit a certain age, I'm not going to know how to maintain that. I've always resonated with your truth. And I've watched you at times struggle with that and recognize that because I saw myself in that.
Wow.
And having a career in this industry, there is place for the superficial. There is place for people who sell lifestyle. There is place for people who sell this, I suppose, ideal thing that happens to you when, you in the public eye.
Yeah.
And then there's some of us who go, well, I want to serve through my work. I want to be able to impact positively with my work. And that is not an easy task, because you always have to reflect on who you are. What are you representing? And just the other day, I was talking to some people who I'm working with currently. And I said, I don't know what it was about what God placed on my heart coming into this career of mine.
Yeah.
But I was so cognizant, even in my 20s, when alcohol was for free at events, to not drink at events, to not get drunk at events, to not get drunk at rap parties. It was always this responsibility I felt to not represent colored people as a statistic, right?
Oh, I love
that.
To
not go, oh, well, I'm going to play into what they think we already are. And some people would say, yeah, but that's not your responsibility. It's not a responsibility. I sat down and thought, well, I'm going to be the hero of this.
Yes.
It's just what God placed on my heart.
Absolutely.
And so navigating my career in that way hasn't always been easy because, alcohol is one example, but there are many other things. How do I handle myself in interviews? How informed am I about what I'm saying about my people? What am I saying about them from the perspective of maybe what people don't realize or, what we don't realize as colored people? So Yeah, it's been an interesting journey. I think one that's humbled me even more the older I've gotten, because the older I've gotten, the more I've realized I don't know.
Sure.
And someone said something profound at the beginning of this year or the end of last year may have been, that completely shifted my thinking. None of us have answers. We all have thoughts.
Wow.
And so this self-righteous way of being, where we think we're the ones who hold and others are wrong while we are right.
Yes.
I don't think that that's reflective of God. I don't believe it's reflective of God. And so if you had to ask me what's my mission, it's to reflect God in what I do.
It's amazing.
And it is a big task. And I stand in that submission all the time, even when I don't want to.
Wow. So, Lorcia, there was just so much to unpack in what you had just said now. And I have many questions for you, but I want to start at the beginning. Maybe just give us a little bit of insight into what sparked the woman that you are today.
It's a big question and an interesting one, because the older I feel I get, the more I reflect on my life from an observer, right? So the observant witness, we hear that term all the time, but I'm not so much a participant of what's happened to me.
Yeah.
I can kind of look at my story and look at how it's been good for me and where it shaped me, where it was unkind perhaps, and forgiving that. So it's really a combination of things. But I do think, having dealt with unpacking or decompressing from quite a traumatic childhood, I would say that a big part of what drove me, and I don't condone this as a methodology to survive where you're from, but I realized later that that's what I did. And then I had to unlearn all of that. I was very angry in my environment growing up in the Cape Flats, because I had to dislike my environment so much so that it would make me want to leave. I looked at people around me, and the people who were okay with their environment, who were okay with the substance abuse, who were okay with the violence, who accepted it as normal, kind of didn't have that fire to want to leave. I had to really dislike all of that and go, I don't like that, I'm better than that, and have that kind of attitude about myself to be able to leave home at 18. And then when I became an adult, that same aggression was what worked against me. That same anger, that same dislike, that same hard skin is what worked against me. Now I had to unlearn all of that to a point where it literally took me about, I'd say, 20 years to be able to go back to Cape Town and not be angry.
Wow.
And then go, well, this is where I was raised. Let me relook at what good happened here. What good happened here? Because we're always looking at our past, looking at our parents, looking at our environment, looking at our communities, our friendships, our relationships, and we're only ever taking the bad from that. And I've come to a place in my life now where I'm like, well, what good also happened there? What good? Because we keep focusing on what we need to fix rather than what is there to be grateful for. So that shaped a big part of me. I think a big part of why my dance career blossomed in the way that it did and continues to do is because of my dance teacher, Debbie Turner, who drove 40 kilometers when we moved away from being close to the studio. My mom had to move because the house we were in was getting sold. And the landlord was basically like, you need to get out. And we moved 40 kilometers away from the CBD. And my dance teacher drove to fetch me. She was like, this kid cannot not dance. And so I always say, you know, my respect for her, my work is so closely tied to that. There's no way I can thank her other than what I'm doing. And so my doing is very closely tied to my thanksgiving to her and to God for allowing me that, which is why I'm very cognizant of the fact that my work needs to serve, because her work served me.
I really resonate with that, because I believe that when we show up, or however we show up in the world, we don't show up as ourselves. We show up with the collective, the people that have shaped us, changed us. To your point, your dance teacher that drove, I had a coach that used to come and fetch me. There was one specific incident I can recall where I made the Western Province softball team, and we didn't have finances for me to go. And I just literally, I ghosted her because I didn't know what to say to her. And this woman on the day, the bus was packed, everybody was on the bus. She drove from City Park. I'm not sure if you're familiar with like the area in Athlone, but anyway, she drove from the field, left the people there, came to fetch me, told my mom, I'm going to pay for this child. I'm going to buy it because you needed like kit and all of it. Like, it's just like a crazy amount. And she literally just covered all of those costs for me because she wanted me to be a part of, you know, the experience and being part of it, and because I'd worked so hard. And so I fully believe that we are the sum total of the people that have poured into our lives. And I believe like when I stood up on the stage with Mrs. South Africa and they crowned me, I was like, this is not for me alone. This was never me. I could have never gotten to this place by myself. It's every single woman that poured into my life, family, you know, church family. And it's just the collective that allows you to be who you are. And then like to your point, then you have that responsibility to carry and to serve the next person and the next young girl. And that's why I love your life so much, because I really truly see that in who you are, and you exude that without you even having to say it. Like that is the energy that you exude, whether you are in a room at an event, whether you are speaking at a podcast, and I'm watching stuff on social media and online of you. That's just like what I get from you. And that connection for me is that's the sort of women that you want to be connected to, those that are concerned about legacy and those that are interested in the next generation and that know that it's not just about themselves. And so that was one of my questions I wanted to ask you was like, did you realize the weight of responsibility, like representing, because I know it wasn't your responsibility, you didn't necessarily choose it, but you represented colored women or colored girls, and we aspired to be like you. And so my question is, was that something that you like knew at the beginning, or did that sort of kind of evolve over time?
I think from the beginning, I held myself to quite a big responsibility with regards to representing my mother. First, representing my dance teacher. Above that, representing God. What does that look like, even when I fail? Because it's hard, you know, that the conflict that you feel as when you're having this human experience is like you're trying to be perfect, but you were made to be imperfect. So that kind of that journey brings you back to your knees and to reshaping and evolving, you know? And so even though I couldn't articulate it in the beginning, I always knew that I had this responsibility, and I was just so focused. It was a spirited thing. It's not something where I went, well, I'm going to stand for. No, I didn't have that kind of mindset. It was placed on my heart. And thank God that in this instance, I can say I was obedient, because there are many instances where I wasn't, you know, and in this one, I can truly say that even when it was hard, I was like, may your will be done in this, even though I couldn't articulate it, you know. I really feel that what you're saying to me today is a reaffirmation to me. It's an encouragement to me that perhaps I'm aligned. Because sometimes you don't know. Sometimes, you know, not every good intention lands well. Not every good intention has a good outcome. You saying this is enough for me to go, she reminded you today, so it's okay. Keep doing this. You know?
Love that.
Yeah,
because not a lot of people are showing up the way you are. And the thing for me is that, like, you're speaking about things that people need to hear, and unashamedly so. But I think maybe let's speak about just your career and your work ethic and your discipline. I have so many stories about you, Lorcia. I'm low-key stalking you growing up. But anyway, like I think there was one incident we did, it was like an MTN huge award show. You were there, so Mizi was there, Megan, I don't know if you remember Megan,
yes, of course.
and Elizabeth, all of them.
Yes.
And, you know, I just watched you like in awe. I watched you, all of you, but like specifically watched in awe of your guys' work ethic and your discipline, and how you guys just like, you showed up and like gave the very best of yourself, and you had worked your craft to a point where people like all they wanted were you guys. You guys were like amazing. And maybe just like share a little bit what that is. How do you do what you do?
I'm so happy to be able to share that, because for a long time, I didn't realize how deep it was, right? People go to church and they worship, right? People go to cell groups and they worship. People pray and that's their worship. My worship is my art.
Love that.
It's how I feel I offer prayer, thanksgiving to God.
Yeah.
So when I walk onto a stage or I'm teaching or I'm choreographing, there isn't a moment where I'm not in prayer. It is my prayer. It is how I stand in my prayer. My art is my prayer. And so it's not I don't see things as gigs. I don't see a show as, oh yeah, I booked a job. No.
Sure.
It's, here's my worship. How am I going to step into this? So I really am mindful of how I approach it. I think, as artists, we have this dilemma where when we're not working, we absolutely are praying, fasting, we're doing all the things to get the job. We get the job, 2 weeks in, we're complaining. And I'm like, which I'm not sure. And for me, complaining is that thing where you're moaning and you don't have a resolve.
Wow.
You don't have a solution in place. Even if it's the wildest solution there is, you're moaning if you're just being negative about it. For me, you're allowed to have a grievance. Do you have a probable solution for that? Because otherwise we're just moaning, and I don't have the space to keep turning that wheel of negativity. I don't. And I'm very clear. I know what it's like to starve. I know it. So when I ask God for a job, I'm going into this knowing what it's like to starve.
Wow.
Please allow me that even when a challenge arises, that I deal with it in a way, knowing what an empty tummy feels like, so that you don't have to place me back in the empty tummy to have to ask you for the same thing, because it's the same cycle.
Yeah.
So I'm very clear on that. And so when I do have a grievance on set, my first thing I do, for example, is I sit with myself and I go, okay, why is this a grievance? Is it you? Is it something that's outside of you?
Wow.
How does that person feel? Let's take the whole thing into account. I negotiate this thing until I get to a point where I'm like, right, this is how I'd like to take it forward.
Yes.
And then the conversation between whoever the conversation needs to be with is without ego. It's held with love.
That's good.
It's like, hey, this is how I felt. I may be wrong because my feelings may not be valid.
Sure.
Please tell me what your side is so that we can both understand this before we move into the resolve of this.
So brilliant.
Yeah. I'm very careful of mixed signaling God. You ask God for work, God gives you work, and then you're complaining that you're tired from work. I don't know which one, which is the one. So
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the thing of like saying, oh, I'm tired. Geez, they're working us. No, you feel tired. Have a nap.
Yeah.
Because I would rather be feeling tired from work than feeling tired from scrambling.
Yeah.
That's my choice, and it's clear.
Absolutely.
I
love that. It's brilliant. Are these principles that you teach your kids as well?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, the thing about being a parent is that I realized recently, and perhaps this will grant some insight to parents, is that part of our journey is to create a core wound for our kids that they will then have to work through.
Sure.
I know parents who have been amazing, and their kids still have something that they need to work through from that parenting model.
Yep.
So to parents, we need to be gentle with ourselves. We didn't know that we were signing up into someone else's contract of evolution. We didn't know that.
Crazy.
Would my mom have chosen my childhood the way it was if she knew that that was going to be what my growth was? My pain through her experience was going to be what my evolution was, right?
Yeah.
So while I do pass this on to my kids, I'm also very cognizant of first holding my kids for who they are.
Yes.
And then doing my best to facilitate, what the agreement is for them in their lives. I have friends whose parents were incredibly soft, kind with them. And their question to their parents is, why weren't you harder? Then I have on the other side, like with my mom, why were you so hard on us?
Yeah.
Why weren't you softer?
Yeah.
And it's like, which one?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We
Exactly.
don't know. And so even as parents, we're trying to figure it out too, and we're evolving too. And so what we may have done 5 years ago in our parenting, we may not necessarily do now because we've grown. And a lot of the time, there are things that we come into parenting with that we haven't resolved.
Sure.
And without realizing it, no parent intentionally wants to wound their child.
Absolutely.
It is part of the process, And so I would really just say, hold yourself gently and be forgiving of yourself, your kids, and how you were raised. And then just navigate it with the most integrity that you possibly can, because there's a lot of shame that comes with having failed.
Sure.
Feeling like you failed, But even that failure is a part too of your growth.
Absolutely. I think that's really Sure, so powerful because I see it in my life with my children as well. And what you mentioned about like growing up in Cape Town on the Cape Flats, it puts that fight in you. Like, and you feel like you need to fight your whole life. But as you grow older, you realize not everything is, a fight. There's a different way you can approach things, but it's because of that hard exterior that you sort of put up because you needed to survive in an environment that was harsh.
Right.
And so now with my children, obviously it's a bit different. Sometimes I feel like the soft life is too soft for them. Do you know what I mean? Because you try to navigate between what is hard enough, what are the things that they need to learn where they don't, it's not, I'm giving you everything, but there's lessons that you can learn that I maybe learned in a different way, but because you don't have that experience that I did, how do we navigate that? And so I think for myself also, that's something that my husband and I, we sort of also navigating. How much do we give you? How much do we not give you?
Yes.
Because we never had. We want to give you everything. We want to give you the life that we never had, the opportunities we never had. But sometimes, that can also wound, as you said, wound them in a sense and cripple them from actually becoming who they need to be. So it's finding that sort of that balance, I guess.
Yes.
Which is very tricky.
Yes.
Okay, so I think let's just move on to perhaps your definition of success. You've been in this industry for so many years, and I love what you said earlier about not being like going with the trends and fad and trying to like keep up a persona that I'm supposed to like try and manage this thing forever. But you've managed to have longevity in this industry that is so hard to do.
And especially as a colored woman.
Especially as a colored woman. And how have you navigated that? How have you managed that firstly? And then what does success look like to you now?
I think navigating it is being able to take a step back, pausing between breaths.
Okay.
I think we're very reactive as artists naturally, where we internalize everything. I've learned to slow down, take in the space, even while buildings are burning. I kind of stand there and I watch the building burning and I'm like, what does this need? Is this an oil fire? Is this a wood fire? Does it need an extinguisher? Does it need water? So I'm always doing my best intentionally to stay in that awareness, And so when I go to work, it's a given that I should be good at what I do. It's what God has gifted me with. How good that good is dependent on how much I put in. How far I'm willing to go. How I'm willing to see this entire picture. I don't deliver characters or choreographic work because I want to look good. Again, I wanted to serve. My intention is for it to be able to serve. Does it touch someone's heart watching this, feeling this? Does it make someone think? Does it make someone forget where they are for that moment if their situation is hard? So does it create the energy of movement within a space, So for me, the one that's very important. So if it's a given that I'm good at what I do, who I am needs to meet that. Who I am can't come at the expense of what I do. What I do can't come at the expense of who I am. They have to meet. And so a motto for me personally with my kids is always who you are is as important as what you do. There are many brilliant people out there and they're not, and this is judgment, and I own that. They're not necessarily good people. They're not necessarily kind people. It's a me, So I really value that what I do is as important as who I am. My definition of success is very simple. Is God pleased with my heart when I lay my head down? I don't want to lay there and tally like this stock sheet that I can't get through. And so there've been many times when I get home and I lay my head down and I'm like, oh, I don't even know where to start. Like today, I really feel like I failed. I do. And then I have to have this conversation and own it, And sometimes I repeat those conversations and those same things. And I'm like, when are you going to get this? But I am only interested in whether God is pleased with my heart.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love it. And that definitely comes through in a huge way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I'm going to move on quickly to something a little bit more lighthearted.
Yes.
So you're going to do a quick,
Oh, gosh.
creative quick fire.
Oh, 30 seconds is my worst game to play.
Really?
It exposes all the anxiety that I do breath work for. I'm like, come on now, you got to do the breath work. It's in 30 seconds when that happens, and now we're doing it. Okay, right.
Yeah,
Swear breath.
You're going to be fine.
Yeah,
you're going to be
cool.
good.
Let's go.
Okay, let's do it. A song that still moves you instantly.
Oh, I would have to say One More Chance by Biggie. It was just a time in my life where I felt like, even though the words are quite crass, as we know, it was just a time in my life where I felt like the world was at my feet.
Wow.
I felt like the sky was the beginning and not the limit. So it's more attached to a time in my life where I felt like I'm going to be 18 soon and I'm going to fly.
Wow.
Yeah. So when I listen to that song, it's not necessarily the lyrics. It's that.
It's the feeling that
It's
you
the
get
feeling
from,
that I
yes,
get. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Okay, cool. One role or performance that changed you personally.
I would have to say it's Tyson. Like I said, having disliked where I was, my environment at the time, then having to embody what I disliked so much, and then finding the empathy. And when I went into that role, I said to the director, I would really love to not just play the bad guy. I want people to have moments where they're asking what made this person like this, because I had to play that role, go, what made this person like this?
Wow.
Because it's not what you see the action to be. There is a backstory as to how that came to be. So definitely Tyson, it changed me too. And I think it was part of my healing process.
Amazing. A habit that you've had to unlearn as a woman.
Oof. Not to apologize when I'm PMSing.
Okay.
Specifically.
Okay.
And owning it and going, now I need chocolates.
Yeah.
And now I need to cry. So I'm going to play a sad movie instead of braving it out and being a survivor, because that's the easier thing for me to do, is to go toughen it out and then you go.
Yeah.
But you're like angry in places where you shouldn't be. Some like you dropped water on the floor and now it's like you broke the whole sliding door. And it's like you didn't break. So now I've learned to not apologize for that. And if someone goes, you're being emotional, I'm like, yeah, I'm PMSing.
Yeah. Great.
Owning it. So owning all of it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, this is a no-brainer, or maybe not. Stillness or motion? Which do you need more of now?
Definitely motion.
Okay.
It's always been motion. Stillness, people go, well, sit still, meditate, and I get it. But some of us, our meditation is in the movement.
Yeah, true.
It is in the moving of the hand. It is in the drawing. It is, find what resonates with you. There's no one shoe fits all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. So that's it. Wasn't that bad, right?
No, and it's still deep.
Yeah, exactly. On brand.
Oh,
Yes.
gosh. No.
Amazing. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So then one last thing before we go, Lorcia.
Yes.
So if you can just speak to the young girl that's watching from home.
Yeah.
Or even, a woman, an older woman that feels like perhaps the environment is the reason why they're stuck. Just a word of encouragement, a word of hope for them.
So people will often say you are not your environment, not understanding that sitting in that environment every single day, not knowing. People will say, yeah, but you can get out, and no one tells you the how. No one says how. Oh, lose weight. Yeah, but tell me how, because I want to, I'm willing and I'm there. You're giving me my what to do, but not my how, right? Because we have access to so much information right now, my thing is always, how are you using that access to information? Are you using it to numb you, or are you using it to empower you? So I would say in this day and age, for someone sitting at home, you have all of this, available to you. How are you using information to shape you rather than to stunt you? Because we can scroll and doom scroll and escape things, or we can go, today I'm taking 15 minutes. I'm watching a couple of self-help videos. These are the podcasts that I really like, Emerge for one. And this is how I'm going to empower myself. This is how I'm going to change how I approach life or how I think about life. Second to that, can I read something?
Yes, please do.
Because this is, I get a message from, it's a really kind lady every single day.
Okay.
And it's so beautiful. And so today's message was, stepping out in faith is always better than sitting in doubt. faith calls you to rise, to move, and to pursue all that God has prepared for you. Ask yourself today, are you magnifying the size of the problem or the greatness of God? God moves mightily where there's an attitude of faith. Dethrone the worry, lay them at God's feet, and put God first in every area of your life. Nothing you are facing is too much for God. So for me, it doesn't matter what religion you subscribe to, right? For the first time this year, I've learned what submission really is.
Sure.
For 47 years, I'm 47 now. I thought that I was submitting, and I really wasn't. Now when I get an audition or a brief for an audition, I ask for a day or two. I sit with it. I ask God, is this aligned with what you have planned for me?
Yeah.
Because not everything in this world that we are offered or that we are given is necessarily aligned, right? And so I then sit with it, and all I ask for is the discernment to listen and to hear. And for those 2 days or that day or whatever, I am just listening.
Wow.
Because we pray, we go, amen, we get up. When do we listen?
Yeah.
God, please guide me on this, and amen, and we gone. And I'm like, so when are we pausing to listen to what the response is? It's like me saying, what's your name? And then carrying on with the conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to hear what your name is, right? And sometimes it's very frustrating because I'll be waiting for this answer. And I'm like, but it's not coming. No, must I go to that? Must I?
Yeah.
And so it's like I'm having this human experience. And often, just when I'm meant to give that answer, I'll feel it. Like I'll wake up and there's a calmness. And even the way I learn the script, it's like it's in 30 seconds and I've got it. And there's this angst is not there. And I walk into the audition and I'm calm. And I'm like, God's already decided what this is. And so by the time I step onto set, I'm already in divine plan, intentionally in divine plan. Now I'm not begging now. And God's not going, well, you already decided the half of this. Now you're saying, homie, please help me.
You want my help?
So there are many decisions that I've made in my life. When I say I've only learned submission this year, there are many decisions that I've made in my life, and I've made them independently and then placed the accountability on God. And God, why are you doing this to me? And why did this happen? And now, in knowing this, even when it doesn't pan out the way I necessarily want to, I can trust that it's for my good. I can absolutely trust, because I'm still dealing with consequences now of decisions I made independently while asking God to help me, right? And I'm not saying that God doesn't help. I'm not saying that God doesn't intercede, but I'm very clear of the foundation of where I begin now. Very, very clear. And so if something doesn't transpire in the way that I want, I know it's happening for my good. I can trust it. You can't sway me on that.
Oh, I love that so much.
Me too.
100%
It's such a relief, actually. It's such a
100%
relief. I feel crazy.
Absolutely.
Especially growing up the way we did.
Yes.
I feel crazy because when I should be worrying, I'm like, I'm not worrying about that.
Exactly.
And I'm like, are you sure you're not worrying? My mind's like, wait, we've worried about this for 46
so long.
yees. Why are you not worrying about it? Like, because I don't feel like it.
Exactly.
Because I know where I'm held.
That's amazing.
It is.
It's also something that I've learned recently.
Yeah.
If it's not for me, then it's not for me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to try and control the situation or control my life to a point where I'm trying to put every piece together, and then I have to upkeep what I've built.
Yes.
Whereas when God orchestrates everything, to your point, smooth sailing.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have your challenges and things that you have to sort of navigate.
Yeah.
How you would deal with different things and challenges and stuff. But for the most part, you feel a sense of peace. You feel a sense of, this is aligned. This is the right thing for me to be doing. So I completely agree with you on that. So, okay. And so to wrap up the show, let's just do a last question. What do you believe is the thing or the next that you are emerging into?
I have no idea. Jen. I work with a coach, right? I also feel that's important is surrounding yourself with people where you can get valuable information and insights to facilitate you as you embark on every journey.
Yeah.
My coach is Tim Hayes.
Okay.
And he said to me something so profound the other day. He said, Lorcia, it's okay to say, I don't know.
It's good.
And I was like, I'm very curious. So I'll always ask a question after you say that. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Because he goes, the reality is you don't. And I said, you're right.
Yeah.
I said, cool. Our call's done. It's like maybe 10 minutes. Put down the phone, because that's the truth, is that I have vision for my life. I feel like what's coming next is very intentional with regards to how I impact through dance specifically. Dance has really called me again. I do development programs through dance, life skills. Yeah, teach life skills through dance. It's a beautiful medium. That's how I learned,
I love that.
my understanding of self.
Yeah.
And so that's definitely a big part. But if I had to answer that in a way that's truthful to this moment, I don't know what's next.
Thank you. Thank you for your honesty. I appreciate that. And I just feel like, your life in itself, you sort of, I see legacy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I just see legacy, and I just see the word impact obviously resonates. Because that for me truly is stepping fully into you would never know the impact that your life has had.
Yeah.
The degree of the impact. One life. If you've changed my life and if you've inspired me, and then my life inspires my niece, and her life, she now steps into her purpose and she inspires a whole different group of young people coming up. It's like, it's a sea of women and, people in the country that's been changed and impacted by your life. And so even though you might not see it, I know that that's sort of where you are. Like, you're in the space where you just continuing to exude your excellence and embody your craft and do what you do. But there's that element of, I'm leaving these things for people to pick up and carry. And that for me is amazing.
It's really not my intention. I think spirit leads. And I just want to my intention is to stay in alignment with that. Yeah. For me, I was always very clear that legacy won't be a building. It will be how people felt, what people have to say about me. Should I no longer be here? What would my kids hear? Not what would my kids see in a building. And that's an important thing for me. Legacy is how I impact. Yeah. That's my dream.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you.
And that for me is really the reason why you have had this incredible career and still continue to have it.
Thank you.
And it's been such an honor. And I wish I could have asked you all of the questions that I have, because I know there's such a wealth of wisdom and experience and just insight into life and, in industry and your craft and everything. And so I'm hoping that we get to do this again.
Yes.
But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Can I say one last thing?
Please do.
The thing that shifted my focus for me a lot was, instead of asking, how is this happening? Why is this happening to me? Is ask, how is this happening for me?
Okay. Love that, Jace.
Why is this happening to me? Why is this happening? No. How is this happening for me? Everything is an opportunity. And even through pain, ask, how is this pain happening for me? So that you don't ever have to be a victim of any experience, any environment, or any condition that there may be. How is this happening for me? Through your tears. God gets your tears. Even the things you're not saying to God with your mouth, He already knows. So just keep asking, how is this happening for me?
Mic drop. Yeah.
Yeah, things that have helped me,
Amazing.
And continue to, and that I still struggle with. Just because I say this doesn't mean I'm a master of it. No, it's things I have to integrate all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. But thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Brilliant conversation.
So much.
I loved it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If this conversation resonated with you, if it reminded you that becoming is a journey and not a moment, then this space is for you. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future conversations with these incredible women who lead, build, and emerge with purpose. Share this episode today with someone who needs the reminder, and join us as we continue these honest, powerful conversations. This is Emerge, and your next chapter matters.